everybody, and welcome to Row 60, a Georgia football podcast. My name is Clark Gaines. Joining me today, as always, Adam Thornton.
Boom, baby.
And this is show number 66. It's a big week, folks. It's time to get our minds focused, Adam.
Monstrous week, Clark. Monstrous week. A lot of the SEC championship teams, kind of where we think who's going to be representing the West, who's going to be representing the East, is going to be decided, almost like it was last year. You know, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU last year was in the same week, man. And then, well, Missouri's the surprise team this year that's right in the middle of the fold. So, hey, kind of a playoff for the East, playoff for the West type deal. I know you still got to win some games afterwards, but two teams that are at the top of each one of the divisions kind of looking strong. So it's going to be exciting, man. I'm excited. Let's go.
Big episode.
What it's all about, baby. Because what is November for, Clark?
It's for contenders.
November is for contenders, right?
In the words of Brian Kelly.
That's right.
After, I think it was this time last year, actually. It was right after the Alabama game. He goes in the post game.
Give us your Brian Kelly impersonation.
Okay, here we go. All right. He goes, October is for pretenders. And everybody's just patiently waiting for what he's about to say next. And then he goes, and November is for contenders.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, God, who would not want to just run through a brick wall for somebody speaking like that in that accent and that just wonderful.
It really is Contenders Month, though. Today is November 1st.
It is.
We're having to refilm this episode.
A blustery November 1st, Clark.
It is. It's
blustery.
A bit chilly.
In the 30s out there. And I've talked about it. It's football weather.
Yeah.
It's football weather.
We've got on our long sleeves. Adam, I noticed that you got on a Peach State Pride long sleeve.
Clark,
Looks
I got
good.
on a nice Peach State Pride t-shirt here, Clark.
Yeah.
And just a nice long sleeve shirt that's very comfortable, nice and casual, man. So go visit our friends at PeachStatePride.com. We talk about the game day polos and apparel that they have, but they have clothing for everything, every occasion. Holidays coming up. Clark might want to get a gift to some of your loved ones or friends out there, man. And I would just go visit. Find what you want, hat, everything. They got it. They got it. And tell them the Row 60 sent you, baby.
Yeah. Adam, I'm eyeing a belt.
Are you now?
Yeah, not Georgia football belt, but just a Georgia belt has a G on
Classy looking belt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I really want it on Peach State Pride. I'm going to have to pull the trigger on that pretty soon.
You need to.
My old belt, you were actually making fun of me the other day at the Georgia-Florida game. I wasn't wearing a belt because my Georgia belt just doesn't fit anymore. So,
well, I mean, Clark, you'll have that from time to time. You put on some LBs as life progresses. Right. You know, it happens to the best of us, all of us. I've outgrown many a belt, you know. But I saw you not wearing a belt the other day, Clark, and I thought to myself, man, I was like, I told you, I might as well be just going out of the house naked if I don't have a belt on. That's how and I wear jeans every single day, and I have to have a belt on to feel right going out the door.
Makes sense.
So I mean, definitely sharp-looking belts over there at PeachStatePride.com. Go check out our friends over there. Just represent the great state of Georgia so well, and please go visit them in store. Check out their website. Find you something.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, Adam, it's a fun weekend we had down in Jacksonville. We're going to talk about that on this episode. We also have a patron shout-out. We got a new patron this week. Oh, yeah. Got a weekly concession stands report, Clark's Fun Facts. We're going to talk about Georgia's offense, defense, and special teams down in Jacksonville and the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Yes, sir.
Last week's games, we're going to briefly go through those. And we're going to talk about a few developments, things that have happened this week that we want to talk about. And like I just mentioned just a second ago, this is actually a re-recording. We actually filmed this on Sunday, but now we're sitting here on Wednesday, November 1st, re-recording it because we did have a technical difficulty. Yeah. But it did work out for the best because we get to talk about these things as well.
Some flash, some bum, 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 breaking news.
Okay. What? Whose jingle is that?
I really have no clue. I made it up myself.
The Row 60 breaking news.
Yeah, I kind of mixed some, I don't know, just regular, your standard breaking news clips and kind of extended it a little bit. Okay. And just made that jingle.
I like it.
Just made that jingle up right there.
We need to copyright it or something.
We should.
We've got some good games this week we'll talk about. I've got some trivia. In place of a game of the week, we're going to do some trivia, Adam. And then at the very end, we're going to preview Georgia versus Missouri. big time SEC East matchup.
Boom.
Can't wait for this episode to get started. So let's just go ahead.
Hey, we're
and
here,
get started.
man. We're here. We've talked about it, man. Every episode's gone by quick this week. Every game day's gone by quick. We're there. Georgia's 8-0. We've left Jacksonville undefeated. Just like the past 2 years, man, setting up everything right in front of this Georgia football team with monstrous games coming, Clark. Monstrous games. We talked about it, man. There's no cupcakes left.
No.
I mean, we're not going to be licking the icing off anything anytime soon right now. I mean, this is the meat and potatoes of the schedule, Clark.
Yep.
Coming up, man. And I'm juiced that every single week's going to be excitement. Every single week's going to bring some guys stepping up and making some big-time plays and kind of instilling themselves in Georgia lore, I feel like, is what we're going to see over the next couple months, man, especially these next couple weeks to wind down the regular season. Then it's postseason time, man, and really one's going to crank up for the drive for 3, baby.
Oh, man, can't wait. Hey, right quick, we have an announcement to make to everybody in the Row 60 Nation family.
Okay.
We need to give
The Nation.
you like
I
the
like
Nation?
that. The Row 60 Nation. Yeah. Maybe make a flag with it. Row 60 Nation.
And maybe everybody can sign it.
Yep.
Actually, that would be really cool. Anyway, we have an announcement to make this Friday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have another live call-in show.
Yes.
So we hope to see y'all there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be amped for this game.
You know,
this call-in show.
it feels like it was just last week, but Auburn's been a while. The eve of the Auburn games when we broadcasted live the last go-around, Carl, and I'm telling you, man, it seems like that was just yesterday, but it's flown on by.
It sure
flown on
has.
by. So, I mean, the stakes are, this will be the biggest call-in show of the year to date right now. I mean, this game's going to be a little bit bigger than the Tennessee Martin and Auburn game was.
No.
So, I mean, just a little bit more at stake, which is hard to believe, man, that Missouri's a one-loss football team coming into Athens and got SEC East title aspirations, Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, Eli's got them believing over there in Columbia, Missouri. I mean, what are they doing in Columbia, Missouri right now? What are they doing in Missouri this week, Clark? What do you think that the fan base, do you think that they think that their offense is going to pull it off? They're going to play enough good defense that they're going to come into Athens and beat Georgia.
I'm sure there are plenty of
You think
Mizzou fans.
I mean, I don't
thinking
know
that.
any Missouri fans.
I don't
personally.
either.
Maybe old Ryan Day could give us a pulse of the state over there in Missouri. And I don't know, man. I would love to know where their thoughts are, or because I'm sure they're excited. They should be excited. This is what
Got a good
SEC
team.
football is all about, man. I just think it's so weird in the schedule that probably the biggest threat to Georgia in the East is, again, the week after Florida, the same day Alabama and LSU are playing. You know, they did an SEC network, the SEC Inside.
Yeah.
Last year they did it, division race games and everything. And it was Georgia, Tennessee, and then Alabama, LSU. I bet they're going to do the same thing this year.
Oh, yeah.
So, another exciting week. And Sanford should be packed and electric, and the environment should be just the same as it was last year against Tennessee, man.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the atmosphere, let's talk about this past week in Jacksonville.
Let's go.
The trip, the game day, all of it, Adam. How was your trip down
My
to
trip
Jayville?
was grand.
Was it?
It was a great time.
Tell me
It was
about
a great time. We went and had some good family time, Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Had some good family time. And always we go to our traditional place on Amelia Island. I mean, it's just like I have to go. I'm somebody, you know this about me. I don't like going and getting new adventures.
No, you don't.
I like to stick to my roots. I like to go sleep in the same bed if I'm going on vacation that I slept on for the years. And that's what we do, is stay in the same condo when we go down there. I like reliving the same stuff. Most folks might think that's weird, but that's just me. That's just me. That's just what I do. That's just what I do. And the traditions that were built, I like reliving them and passing them down to the next generation of cousins or my daughter, who's growing up in this. And I just think it's a good time. That's what we do. And everybody's got their thing. So I enjoyed the family time before 3:37 p.m. Eastern on Friday when it was time to shift focus to a business trip, from a vacation to a business trip.
Right.
So, no, but it was fun. The Thursday and Friday that we were there, just being able, I sat on the porch on the condo and just reflected. Just reflected. Didn't get on the phone. Just sat there and reflected. Watched the traffic light turn green, red, and yellow. That's right in front of it. And watched the cars go by and the beach out there. And just had just some good time. Good time.
Good,
so and then the game was just woo.
Yeah, it's fun. God, it's a great day, great time. I got to say this: my trip down
how
there
was yours, Clark?
it was awful. and let me say this right quick: thank you to everybody who actually reached out and wondered if I made it there safely. I did, in fact, make it safely. But we left Buckhead at 11 p.m. at night, and ETA for Amelia Island is something like 4:30. So not awful. Few
4:30
hours.
in the morning. Not bad. Not bad.
Well, I'm a
not
night
bad.
owl, so
That's right.
It's not too bad. But anyway, we got going on I-75, and we're about to turn off on Tifton, but before we hit the exit, we got stuck in some traffic, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, maybe just some night construction.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm a fan of that at that time of night. I love when the Department of Transportation and all these road crews decide to work in the wee hours of the morning, Clark, because that's going to be your. I mean, an interstate like 75, you're going to have traffic and clutter. 24/7, right? But I like when they work at night to, not during the prime time commute hours, even though I'm not commuting on the interstate to a job, but just for the people who do, I'm sure they're in agreement of this. So yeah, I mean, I would have been with you. I would have thought that as well.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, but unfortunately, it was a really bad wreck. I think multiple fatalities. 18-wheeler was involved, but we literally sat in traffic for 3 hours. I had some patience because I knew it was probably
what puts
really
things
bad
in perspective.
Yes,
and you're praying and thinking about those people, the families who are going to get just absolutely devastating news, and just being thankful that you weren't involved, but of course thinking about that as well, and just knowing. I mean, that puts stuff in perspective in a hurry.
Yeah, it does.
When you see those situations in life, and that's why we always preach here to enjoy every single day.
Agreed.
Find joy, do what you love, and enjoy doing what you love with people that you love as well. Just spread joy with whoever you're around, strangers alike, man. And because I mean, you can't take a day for granted.
You sure can't. So. Yeah, we got through that traffic and finally got to the condo and met you at something like 7:45 a.m.
Yeah.
So lots. I caught us up on some sleep this past weekend. Probably got to combine 40 hours of sleep.
Well, I mean, it was wild that Saturday morning. I was getting up. I was amped, ready to go. You know, it's game day in Jacksonville. I was reciting my Larry Munson calls as I was about to brush my teeth or whatever. And Kev said, Adam, Clark and Caitlin aren't here yet. And I said, do what? Because I thought maybe y'all got a good, 2 or 3 hour snooze before getting. And I said, no, they're not here yet. And then told me the situation. And I said, dang, man.
It was rough.
So I'm glad y'all made it.
Yeah. But
DGD's powering through the day.
Thank you.
Powering through the day.
But, yeah, I mean, the game was well worth it. I jokingly said, I don't know if you saw this. I posted a story on Instagram on Row 60, and I said, if we lose this game, this was at like 3:50 in the morning. I said, if we lose this game, I'm just going to delete the podcast. Because I
just be done with it.
Just be done with it.
Just be done with it.
We didn't lose. We didn't come close to losing. It was a great game. Yeah, I mean, ate a lot of good food down there. Tailgating. Let me ask you this. I think I've asked you this before. What's your favorite tailgate food?
My favorite tailgate food is I love the dog bark. That your mom has. And, as we've alluded to, that we have named every item related to Georgia football. We have Kirby Crunch, which my wife made that I snacked on all weekend, and I gained 5 pounds.
Oh, did you?
I gained 5 pounds in my 3-day trip because I just grazed, man. And then, of course, the cookies with the icing in the middle of them and everything. So, I mean, I just love to get at a tailgate and just eat. I'm a very, before the game, I don't like to sit still. I just pace back and forth, and I go and I graze, and I'm one of those, I'll just pick food out of the the container, just munch.
You don't put it on a plate. You just go straight for it.
Yep.
You are a very nervous eater. Like, if it's a bigger game, too, it's funny, folks. If you watch Adam on a big game at a tailgate, he's going to eat a lot of food.
That's right.
And drink a lot of stuff, too.
I'm going to gain a lot of weight doing that. I mean, I always do this time of year because of football, and then you just roll into the holiday season as well. But like I said before, I'm fat and happy.
Yeah.
So,
well, speaking of food right quick, on the way back, right, we had some Chex Mix in the car. And I discovered that Caitlin, my wife, does not like rye chips in Chex Mix. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, it's a staple.
I agree.
And the Chex Mix.
We had
platter,
an argument.
Right?
We had an argument about this.
Y'all had a verbal altercation.
Yeah,
about
and
it.
I was
Really?
like, "Whoa!" Now that you gotta like those. They're so good, and then
they are.
It's a good crunch.
Yeah, I mean it is, man. I like any one of the choices, I guess is the word I should say.
Sure.
In a trail mix, Chex Mix, whatever type of mix, sample. There, So, I mean, that's weird. If Caitlin was here, I would tell her that's just very odd.
It is.
By her. I mean, that's kind of un-American.
Yeah, borderline communist.
Yeah, borderline just, I don't know. I don't like that. I mean, if you're eating any type of Chex Mix and you're having to pick through it, I think that's some ungrateful.
Yeah, you're just
ungrateful. Just being ungrateful. I mean, a lot of people would love just to have a bag of Chex Mix and everything that's in it. So I'll tell her that next time I see her too.
Yeah. Well, I want to know from the people. I want to know from anybody listening or watching us right now. Do you or do you not like the ride chips in Chex Mix? If you don't know what it is, just look it up. Ride chip. That's the official terminology that Chex Mix uses.
I did not know that.
But
I called it the bread because it looks like a piece of loaf bread that's just been kind of
sliced,
dialed down a little bit and baked kind of.
Oh, crisps.
I need a bag of Chex Mix now.
I know, yeah. The homemade Chex Mix is really good.
Oh man, it's holiday season. People crank it up around the holidays right now. You know, you get in the workplace or the families in the community. Everybody will get you a little bag of a sample size of some assortments of some trail mix, some candy, some whatnot, homemade candy, and I mean just good people out there giving that to the people, you know, that you'll have at work or neighbors, you know, family at church, everything that you'll have is getting to that point in time of the year where you start seeing more of that. And some fudge.
Yep.
Big advocate of some fudge, man.
Fudge is really good this time of year. Adam, last thing about the game day atmosphere. I want to know your thoughts on a flyover. Crunch on that ice.
Let me get this sip of water down right here. Okay. I love a flyover, and especially when it's not. I love the one in Sanford, but I can't see it from where we sit at.
Right.
But like being in the upper deck at Everbank Stadium on Saturday and seeing them Jets come on by, and I was just fired up about America and the freedom of in America to watch college football. And it just got me juiced. I just went crazy.
You did.
When those Jets came by, and I think everybody around me I'm like, let's be patriotic and try to get a good USA chant going. Because a good thing about getting a USA chant going at a Georgia game, you pay your respects to the nation that we love to live in, the United States of America. So you can get a USA, 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 and get everybody fired up about America. And then it's a quick transition to UGA, UGA. So, I mean, you go from USA to UGA like that, and, I mean, everybody's just fired up about it around you, and I think it's perfect to do that. So you start off with the USA, then you go into the UGA, and then it's time to kick off the football.
Oh, man. Hopefully we'll get a flyover here against Missouri or maybe Ole Miss. Surely Ole Miss.
And I love singing the national anthem to the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad I sound. I let it fly, baby.
You make a joyful noise.
Francis Scott Key would be so proud of me.
Ooh. Yeah.
He would. Think about him and that arbor. That arbor. Watching, you know.
Rockets' red glare.
Yeah, exactly. So
the
watching
bombs
that.
bursting in air.
When he was sitting in there in that arbor, and wasn't he at an arbor? He was watching it was an attack on a fort.
I don't know. Yeah, it may have been a fort. That's what
I think it was in a harbor. He was on a ship watching an attack during the War of 1812, I believe.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
We're going to go with that.
I think this is right. This is embarrassing if I don't know it. But around that time period, it wasn't the Revolutionary War. I think it was the War of 1812, and he wrote the Star Spangled Banner, Clark. And I love it. And you know, how could Francis Scott Key in that moment know that song he wrote? And people just singing it so loudly at these football games, hundreds of years later. I mean, it's something special to think about. I mean, it's a great thought.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, man. All right. Hey, we got a patron.
Just like Betty Ross probably didn't think that the flag that she sewed together was going to be a later rendition of that flag would be flying high above these football stadiums. I mean, it's America, baby, college football.
Did you know at Disney World, this is a fun fact, but not anything to do with football. At Disney World, they have flags with, I believe, 49 stars. No, maybe it's 51 stars on it. Because if you have 50 stars on your American flags, this is at Disney World. If you have 50 stars, you have to either have it lit or you have to take it down at night. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure that's proper flag etiquette. So to get around that, they add another star. So it doesn't really, it's not actually a USA flag that's flying down at Disney World. Just
really
interesting thought. Yeah. Did you not know
didn't
that?
know that. But I will say, though, when I was in the 5th grade, real quick, then we'll get back on our regular scheduled program, that I would raise the flag and take it down every single
really?
day. I would.
Okay.
I would.
You know how to fold
learn
it?
some flag etiquette. Well, as the best as a 5th grader could back then. You know, we were taught. But yeah, I mean, I do love America. I love the flag. And anyway, yeah, just a good patriotic moment before that tail whooping ensued.
Oh, man. All right, patron shout out. We want to shout out this lady because she has been a loyal listener to this show, Miss Lisa Giddens.
Give it up for Miss Lisa. We got to meet her in Nashville. Great woman. DGD. Glad to have you on board, Miss Lisa.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Lisa, for joining Patreon and
love it.
Join this community. Hey, if you're not on Patreon yet and you want to be, go to patreon.com/row60, or you can download the Patreon app and search Row 60. It's only $5 a month, and every penny helps us
With the
to
production.
make more content.
With the production, man, to keep the wheels on the thing, you know?
Yeah. We got a lot of overhead here at Row 60. There's some bills we got to pay to keep this thing going, believe it or not. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but seriously. Stuff is expensive nowadays. This software that we use to post our podcast, it's like $200 a year. I mean, it doesn't sound like a ton of money, and it really isn't in the grand scheme of things, but for this to be a side hustle of ours, yeah, it adds up.
I mean,
So,
everything's getting more and more expensive in life.
I know. Parking down in
Yeah,
Georgia, Florida game was $100. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I saw that light with $100 on that. It's like, man, you know, I mean, it's getting out of hand.
It really
know?
is.
I mean, in Athens too, man. You look at like parking passes right now going in the upper 200s in some places, man. I mean, it's just insane. That's just to be able to just reserve a spot of gravel or concrete just to let your vehicle
Rest
for a little
for
bit.
3 hours.
Rest for 3 hours. I mean, it's wild time, man. And and then you still got to put a lot of mileage on the old legs to get from point A to point B as well.
Good point. Yeah.
But hey, it's all good, all worth it.
That's true, especially when you see the Dogs win. All right, weekly concession stands report. Here we go. This one is brought to you by our good friends of Section 108, Row 58, the Harrell family.
Yes.
Shout out to them.
Love the Harrell family.
They are some DGDs for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. They said 6.5 out of 10 on the pretzel. Glossy and buttery looking, but the butter flavor wasn't really there. A bit salty, but overall not bad.
Not
So
bad.
that's good.
Not bad. A little bit salty. I don't know. You know, messing up butter, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
But they did give a 10 out of 10 on the bottled water.
Good.
I mean, I don't know exactly how you mess up a bottle of water, but you know.
I mean, we've talked about this, Clark. You got to have the right temperature for the water. I mean, yeah, you could drink water at any temperature, and we're thankful that we have the option to be able to get it cold, or colder. So that's good because it was a hot day. It was a hot day, and everybody needed to be hydrated in that stadium.
Agreed.
So I've been to some stadiums, man, where they had either a lack of H2O or something, and people were just dropping like flies, like just getting carried out of the stadium. I mean, they were going down one by one. It was wild.
What stadium are you referencing? Are you talking about Georgia?
I was having at Georgia, and it's happening at South Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina, I've seen some people just be coming out of the upper deck, and I mean, just taking them off one by one. You know, there was just some heat, some heat elements getting the best of it.
Right.
You know,
They also had some stadium comments. The Harrell family. They said horrible experience with security. Lines weren't bad, but they had to go through metal detectors multiple times due to buttons being in their bags. And the buttons.
Yeah.
The Harrell family, they don their buttons every single game day.
That's right.
They each have either one or two buttons.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. It wouldn't be right if the Harrell family didn't have their buttons on the game day.
Something
would be wrong.
Yeah. Especially Mr. Harrell. He's got one specifically. I can't say what it says, but it is classic, people. I mean, it's great stuff.
Oh, it's a good one. It's been a staple for many years in Sanford Stadium. Many years.
Oh, man.
Love it.
But anyway, they had to go through the metal detectors multiple times, and each time they went through the metal detectors, they had to take their bag in to see what in the world was in the bag that was making the metal detectors go off. So they were making them do all this. It just sounds awful.
Man, that's kind of a deal right there that I appreciate that. I appreciate the security and everything, but I think there needs to be some comprehension of the different metal alloys out there, Clark, that could trigger these security sensors to go off and these buzzers, what have you, and these pins are made out of aluminum or stuff, though, and we need to use some common sense that is a alloy that could trigger a alarm in the security sensor. So I don't know if it was one of those deals that negligence on the staff's knowledge of not knowing that a button could trigger it, or if they were searching for something deeper. I don't know. But so that's something, appreciate their service, what they're doing, but we got to be more aware of what items we're looking for, right?
Exactly.
We need to educate our guys more in that sense,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Good times. All right, Clark's fun facts. Moving on here.
Hit it.
Excuse me. This first one.
On to the next one.
This first one comes from Will Snipes. He's a Row 60 patron, a good friend of the show, a DGD.
DGD.
He said UGA has beaten Florida 3 straight times by 20-plus points for the first time ever. That's awesome.
Put that needle right there, baby, and stick it.
Ouch.
Boom. Put that in my veins right there. I love that as somebody who grew up in the early 2000s and late 90s, Clark. Never thought I'd see the day that would happen. Happened to Georgia many a times in the 90s down there. And, hey, the tide has turned. And, man, it's been a fun 3 years. I can tell you that each one of the games has been a fun 3 years down there in Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
Since. Hadn't even been close.
Yeah. This is Kirby Smart's 8th season at UGA. This is a Clark fun fact.
An original
right
nice.
here. Okay, this is an
Nice
original. This is Kirby Smart's 8th season at UGA. 4 of those seasons, including this year, have started 8-0.
Nice.
That's crazy.
That's
isn't
good
it?
stuff. That's
So
good stuff.
50% of the time that Kirby's been here, and if you really want to count if you didn't count the first year and 2020, which we are, but if you didn't count those years, it'd be even more impressive. But 4 of those seasons, 8-0 starting out. And not to hate on Mark Richt. This is not a slight towards him.
No.
But he did coach 15 seasons, and he only had one 8-0 start at Georgia, and that was in 2002. There were a couple other seasons where he got close to that 8-0 start.
05 was one of them. Got beat in Jacksonville. Lost in Jacksonville.
That's it.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, because usually, when Georgia would win in Florida, they'd drop one like South Carolina or Tennessee before coming to Jacksonville, man. But yeah, I mean, no hate at all towards Mark Richt. We love Mark Richt. He was honored before the game, and it was great to see him out there. And I've always said about this Mark Richt guy, he elevated the program, and somebody who I'll always love dearly. And I got memorabilia of him in my shop right here, and I always would be thankful for what he did. I've always said this as my analogy, Clark, with Mark Richt and Kirby Smart, because we love both of them. And as a Georgia fan, you should love both of them.
Right.
As Mark Richt, like going back to Old Testament times, right here as an analogy, Clark, is Mark Richt is the Moses, the Moses that's led the Israelites to the promised land. But Moses, did a lot of work to get there, right?
Sure.
Parted the Red Sea, right?
Yeah.
And did a lot of things to get them, but he didn't take them into the gate, right? He wasn't the one. They had Joshua. Joshua came in, and Joshua was the one that took them the rest of the way into the promised land, right? So I mean, that's what happened. Mark Richt, he just beat on the door of it, man. He got so close, went through some treacherous times, and overcame a lot of adversity to elevate the Georgia program to another level. And then Kirby Smart came, and he elevated to the next level, which led to breaking down the wall and going into the promised land and getting those natties. And then they went back outside and they went into the promised land again. 2 times.
Oh, man. And we're going back into hopefully.
And then we're going to come back out. And then we're going to go into it a third time, baby.
Oh, man. We may just plant our flag right in the middle of the promised land. If we're using that analogy. That's great. Good stuff, Adam. Carson Beck. Listen to this. This is also really good stuff. Carson Beck has now thrown for 250-plus yards in the first 8 games, which breaks Kenny Hill's record at Texas A&M quarterback.
Kenny Hill.
His SEC record of 7 games. So that is awesome. 250-plus yards passing in the first 8 games. Carson Beck, ladies and gentlemen.
Fun. I mean, great. I mean, love Carson Beck. I mean, we can't talk about him enough and what he has done and how he continues to develop each and every week. His confidence building. Elite. I mean, I think now we go ahead and say he is elite.
Oh, yeah.
And we sat here the first few weeks talking about him. Just as he keeps ramping up, he's going to get better and better and better and better. And I think he's at elite level right now where he's playing. But fun little trivia fact right there. You talked about Kenny Hill, Clark. Kenny Hill. This is for somebody that you could, if you're having a good trivia game with the family, or if you need to be the person to make some good sports trivia at the local pizza joint on a Wednesday night when you got trivia going on, Clark. Kenny Hill was the first winning quarterback on the first game in the SEC network history.
He was.
Yeah, 2014, Texas A&M at South Carolina, big upset. A&M beat South Carolina on the first ever game televised on the SEC network.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a fun fact. That's an Adam
fun
fact.
Put that in your back pocket, baby, and put it out there sometime when needed. I don't know when in life you might need it, but like I said, you draw up some trivia, pull that bad boy out.
Yeah, so you just ask people, which quarterback in the SEC, who was the first quarterback in the SEC to win
the first ever televised SEC network game? I mean, you got to kind of have a good roundabout way of presenting the question, because I mean, we've both butchered it in seconds. We've done it, but yeah, Kenny Trill Hill.
Wow,
there.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Listen to this too. This one's crazy.
All right.
On the opening drive, okay, Florida was the first to score in the game. Okay. That hasn't happened since 2015 that they've scored first.
Yeah.
After that touchdown, though, this is even crazier. After that opening drive touchdown, they managed to gain just 1 yard on the next 18 plays.
Yeah.
That included 2 turnovers and 4 sacks. So they net 1 yard.
Wow. I love it, man. I love it. We talk about the script, Clark. It's almost become a joke.
Yeah.
And you were laughing at me Saturday with talking about the script. It's just a script. I said, yeah, it's just a script. When we say it's just a script, the first 10 or 15 plays that everybody's throwing out there, and you see it, and you saw Vanderbilt do it, South Carolina do it, now Florida do it, score on their opening possession, and it's plays that these coordinators have put, installed. Some of it's just looks that you won't see on film.
Right.
I feel like too, and then this coaching staff's, I think, the best in the country at adapting, not just at in-game adjustments at the half, but also in-game adjustments on the fly when it happens. And I think that's what this Georgia team and this staff makes them so good. And then the defense just shut them out after that, man.
Yeah.
So, good on them because, Florida made it look easy that first possession.
They did.
Right there. The secondary just looked lost and looked like Graham Mertz was just going to pick us apart, But right after that ended, boom. So
they turned it on.
It was great. It was great.
Yep. And then the last fun fact, Georgia only had 2 penalties the entire game. And both were delay of games to give Brett Thorson more space to punt.
About as clean of a game as you could play.
Absolutely.
You do that, man, you're going to win a lot of football games.
You sure will. Let's move to Georgia's offense here. Against the Gators, boy, we look good. Carson Beck, 3 touchdowns. 19 for 28 for 315 yards.
Man.
What'd you think about him?
Another 300-yard passing game, Cole. The kid is just, every week you see the confidence, the swagger.
Okay.
The swagger, develop more and more, and he's just more and more dialed in and comfortable each and every week. And you can see how I think he's got command of this offense, Clark, and I think he did a good job of checking down and some plays as well that you could see in the line. And I think he's just seeing defense is good and has been for a few weeks now. And ever since the Kentucky game, I feel like, I think gained a lot of confidence in Auburn and then just turned it on the Kentucky game.
Yeah.
Has done a very good job, man. And great job, great decision making with the football, Clark. Georgia had no turnovers Saturday.
That's true.
And you just talked about two penalties, and that was just in the punting game, and that was just for field position purposes, man. And you don't turn over the football, Clark, and then you don't give up just ridiculous penalty yardage that shoot yourselves in the foot like that, then if Georgia plays like that going forward, man, and limits that stuff, then, go ahead and hang the third banner in Athens.
Yeah, if you play as clean as we did against Florida, you're right. It's going to look.
You can't ask for better.
You really
can't ask for better from that standing, man, because that is nothing self-inflicted right there. Yep. Nothing. But, great day by Carson Beck. Another good job of distributing it to many people. We were going to wonder what was going to happen with Brock Bowers being out, and some guys stepped up and made some plays, man.
They sure did. Dejon Edwards, 2 touchdowns, 15 carries, 95 yards. Adam, he's starting to look like that back that you can really lean on.
Yeah.
And you don't know, we don't still know if Kendall Milton's 100% yet. I'd like to think each week he's getting healthier and healthier, and we need him. We need Kendall. We need Dejon. We need a good tandem of backs moving forward. But Dejon, man, he's just such a hard runner, and he gets those really tough carries, those really tough yards. And I continue to be impressed by him and what he can do. I'd like to see
what a career, man.
Yeah, he really has had a great career. I'd like to see us throw to him a little bit more. Maybe I don't know if he can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Swing passes out of the backfield, get him in space a little bit.
But I guess that's what Dylan Bell's kind of there for right now.
Yeah. Dylan Bell's still playing great that hybrid spot, man.
Yeah.
But to be what Georgia's offense and Mike Bobo and staff really wants to do, Clark, you want to be balanced, man. You want to be balanced, and in order to be balanced, you can't be balanced if you don't have a strong running game, man. And that's what, since we've seen Edwards since the first, quarter of the season that he missed, come back and getting healthier and more comfortable each game and running harder and harder. You're seeing that. And also Kendall Milton to complement that, I feel like it's just the past couple games is kind of getting back to his old self as well. And then you throw in Dylan Bell. So I think the offensive line did a wonderful job in run blocking and pass protection like they have all year, man. And when the line plays that good, then, you can move the football any way you want to. There was several times I felt like Florida stacked the box on especially some of when Georgia started to get more of a lead and wanted to play bully ball a little bit and wanted to run the ball and get some time off the clock as well. That there's still, there wasn't just gashing them, but I mean, they had, 7, 8 in the box right there,
Right.
and they were still able to get 3 or 4 yard pickups, man. That great job on Edwards and the O-line and all the running backs, man. Just a great day all the way around for the whole offense, I felt like.
Yeah, the offensive line gave up 0 sacks, and they opened up some huge holes. If you go back and watch that game, just watch the offensive line when we run the football. Boy.
I think Georgia's gave up like 31 sacks in the last 38 games.
Wow. Really?
So do the math on that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know we led the in the FBS. We were like one of the leaders last year in sacks allowed, which
And that's another thing. That's some of these small things and recipes for success, Clark, that you add up that equate SEC national championships. And one of them is protecting your quarterback, man, and not getting in second, third down long yardage, man. Getting in these manageable downs and that leaves you more options for opening up the playbook as well to move the football, which leads to points, Clark, which leads to winning the game, right? So great job by this offensive line. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. I think a lot of people, were questioning it, and we were like, we talked about it a little bit, but we said, just like last year, man, just wait until the season progresses, and I felt like it's been the same as last year. You're seeing this offensive line, a lot of young guys having to step up, man. The Ernest Greens, the Dylan Fairchild, Michael Morris's, what's his name? Everybody's yelling at the car that just had to start for Truss this week. Freeland.
Monroe Freeland.
Monroe Freeland, yeah. I mean, a young guy having to come in there, man. So, I mean, you're getting guys some experience, and you get Mims back eventually, you get Truss back, but you got these other guys, Clark, who's had to step up and play and got valuable experience, so you could rotate and, plug and play. And just very, very, very proud of where Stacey Searles has this line right now going into the last back part of the season.
Another guy that had a big game the other day, Ladd McConkey, 6 receptions for 135 yards and a touchdown. Pretty sure that's a career game in terms of yardage for him.
Wow, really?
I think so.
Awesome.
Could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure 135 yards for him is a career day.
A lot of good yak, Carl.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of good yak.
God,
I'm telling you.
Ladd is my favorite player on this football team, on offense at least. And then defensively, it's got to be Javon. I don't know, but Ladd.
Some DGDs.
Man, I may get a Ladd McConkey jersey.
You need to, Clark. You need to. But I'm telling you, he is special. It's amazing the special talent that's been in Athens that really came in, getting their first significant times as true or redshirt freshman in 2021. Between him and Brock, and we talked about who's going to be the guy to step up, that especially you got third and the passing situation on third down, who's going to be the guy that Carson Beck's going to know he could go to with Brock being out. And, of course, it was Ladd McConkey looking like his old self. Many big third down conversions that not only moved the chains but also had some big yardage after catches, what we talked about, man. And it's going to be great seeing him now. I feel like he looked back to his normal self of what we saw last year and in 2021 in Jacksonville. And that's huge. Yeah. Huge. Something we got to have, man.
Other guys that stepped up, I think, Saturday to fill in the Brock Bowers shoes, because it does really take multiple guys. One of them was Ladd, obviously. But then I thought Dominic Lovick looked really good. He's starting to come on the scene.
Yeah.
Him and Ra. I was kind of thinking in the middle, not really the middle of the season, the beginning of the season, when are these guys really going to make a name for themselves? And I think we're starting to see the beginning of it. Not saying that they haven't played well up to this point. They have, but now they're really starting to turn it on. We're starting to target these guys, especially Dominic in the slot. You're just starting to see this more often now with him. So
there is so many different options you could have. Like you mentioned, Dominic and Ladd, both guys out of the slot. They're so good. But then you got the Ra-Ras, Marcus Rosemary, Jack Saints that we saw in the Kentucky game more that could be big perimeter threats.
Right.
Stretching the ball vertically on the outside, man. And it's a great wide receiver room.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is there's not just some star like what Luther Burden is at Missouri. There's a lot of guys who play good complementary football and complement each other well, and are very, very talented receivers, man. Agreed. And Carson's doing a good job of dishing the ball out to them. And 11.3 yards per pass?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is.
That's insane.
That's a first down every time you throw the ball out on average.
So, you get a good clean pocket. You got good receivers that run disciplined routes, man, and a lot of different options and ways to go with football. And, the offense right now is just a well-oiled machine. Proud of Coach Bobo, and nationally ranked in the top 10 for sure. And something that I think they're not slowing down anytime soon, and that's even without number 19 right now.
Yeah. Another well-oiled machine on this Georgia team is its defense.
Staple,
My
baby.
gosh, very proud of this defense, how they played Saturday. Very disciplined, Adam. Lots of good eye discipline. You're an advocate for that.
I mean, eye discipline's a big thing. You talk about it, but it's a big thing.
It is.
Big eye discipline, man, especially when there's a bunch of trickeration out there that old Sunbelt Billy tried to pull.
Yeah, unbelievable. Why in the world would you run what? Okay, 4th down early in the game, right? I mean, you fake a sneak. You literally snap the ball between the quarterback's legs to a running back and try to throw a pass.
This was the mindset of the Florida offensive staff, Clark.
Let's hear it.
They weren't going to gain an inch. They were going for 6 right there.
Yeah,
I truly think they were going for 6. I really think that they thought that direct snap back to ETN, that everybody would be pinching in the middle, thinking because they brought Mertz up, that started him out in the gun and brought him up like he was going for the quarterback sneak. And, of course, first and second levels, everybody pinching down in that middle. And I think they thought they were going to sneak a guy behind the second, third levels and really have some open green grass and look pretty good on it, and get some good momentum going. But it blew up.
It did blow up because, once again, we played disciplined football, and you're just not going to run that kind of stuff on Georgia a whole lot. You may somehow luck up and get a guy out of position, but this just goes to show you we've got a good coached football team.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody knows their assignments, everybody knows their roles. Not saying we've never had busts, but especially when it comes to these kinds of plays, it seems like we got our guys where we need them to be, and they know what to do. And that's not something every team in America can say.
No, they don't. And when you have that and the talent there, it's just a culture that's been instilled, man. And Smile Mondon, talking about that play, he made that play, man.
He sure did.
Recognized it, has the athletic ability and football awareness to be able to get in the backfield, make that one-on-one tackle, and hold ETN until some other boys could come too. And a big loss and a big turning point in the game, man. And I think that's just when it just started to just go crazy after that.
Oh yeah, it was fun. And going back to offense just right quick. I'm very proud of how we capitalize on those turnovers, because if we can get some turnovers against Mizzou, against Ole Miss, against Tennessee, and beyond those games, if we get turnovers in those games, that's big. But can you capitalize on them? And this shows me, I mean, it's hard not to capitalize when you turn the ball over in your own 50. So or in the opponent's 50. So but moving forward, I hope
being
we
able
can
to do
capitalize
that. And then not only just capitalizing, getting 3, but also being able to get in the red zone and score and get 7. Getting 7, and I mean, it just is demoralizing for other teams when you have multiple turnovers and Georgia's getting points off those turnovers, especially 7 points.
Yeah. We had a couple of strip sacks the other day.
Oh, that's my favorite play in football.
Me too. 4 total sacks, 2 strip sacks. We had 8 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 punt block for a safety. That's havoc. That is havoc.
That's havoc, baby. That is disruption.
Golly.
And living in that Florida backfield all day was beautiful. That is Georgia football right there. We talked about it. There's been some concern early on. Oh, Georgia's pass rush, quarterback hurries, all this. We've talked about it multiple times this year, man. And we said, not only sometimes it's not because you don't have the talent to be able to just bull rush and do that. Sometimes it is actually a schematical thing that just whatever the defensive game plan for that particular quarterback or offense or what have you, that's a lot over my head, is you just don't get the sacks and quarterback hurries with that, right? And we saw last year that we didn't have as many sacks in the first half of the season, and then blew it out of the water from Florida on back after the off week, Clark. So, maybe, that's going to be the trend this year as well, and it certainly started off that way with a good job, man, of causing some havoc. And I think also you can point towards what adjustments were made and what guys were get healthier and being on that defensive front at Jacksonville that we saw, Clark. We really didn't see, make a difference too much at the first 7 games of the year that showed out on Saturday.
Yeah, one of those guys being Tyrion.
Yes, sir.
Ingram Dawkins.
That's the one, the main one alluding to. We talked about when we get him back. I don't think people realize how big of an anchor and how good he's going to be for that depth and that defensive line, Clark. And you saw it, man. You saw it on Saturday. He was one of the guys who batted the ball out of Mertz's hands. One of them was recovered, one of them wasn't. But a guy that I think that you're going to see get more and more snaps, and a guy that I think really really elevates this defensive line to another level as well. Already good defensive line, Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, and good to see him back. And then I'll let you talk about the other one because you've been high on this guy.
Jalen Walker.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked phenomenal. Adam, there's one word that I would use to describe Jalen Walker, and it's
what's that, Clark?
bendy.
Bendy.
B-E-N-D-Y.
Bendy. Like a good swim move type
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
You know,
or
really,
he can duck.
Oh, yeah, do a little bit of anything to get by a tackle.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, he did great the other day. I mean, he's one of those guys. And I've said this at the beginning of the season. You just can't not have him on the field.
Right. You do. You do.
And I think he looks really good on the outside. And maybe once again, I think schematically speaking, you may want to start putting him on the edge.
Yeah.
And rushing the passer if you've got a guy like Graham Mertz who cannot scramble for his life.
Right. That's right.
Let him pin his ears back and go get after the passer.
Man. I mean, he gets in the backfield quick. And you talked about it Saturday too. It might not bode well when kind of the angles he was taking. If you got a guy like a Joe Milton or a Jackson Dart, I don't know how shifty Brady Cook is. I think he's actually got a little bit of some leg, some mobility, but you could lose containment and they could break away a little bit. But still, the way that he played Saturday and having him on the edge, Clark, I think was big. I love having him because he's a guy that he can go on the inside or the outside, and hopefully we see a lot more of him on the outside for the remainder of the year. I think it's going to be big. And I thought Marvin Jones Jr. was another guy on the outside linebacker who had a heck of a game as well.
Sure did.
Love seeing number 7 in there. I've always been a big Marvin Jones Jr. fan because he just looks like he passes the part. He looks like he's just caused havoc and be a stud out there.
He sure does.
I mean, the man's got the God-given ability to just be an outside linebacker. The good Lord puts people on this earth to do certain things, right? I mean, there's certain things that people are meant to do, and it looked like the good Lord created Marvin Jones Jr. to be an outside linebacker. So go do it.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Yeah.
That's just the way I feel about it.
Love it. Our secondary played awesome too, I thought.
Yeah.
Javon and Tyke both had each had a fantastic game.
Proud of the year Tyke Smith's had. We've talked about it, man, but he seems like he has been a staple now at that star position. A guy who's been in the program a couple of years, man, has some adversity. We've talked about that, but continuing to play at a high level. I feel like glad to see that his injury wasn't that serious when he was banged up down there.
I think he's good to go.
Because we got to have him. I think he's somebody. I mean, Jonell Aguero is a stud. Don't get me wrong. He is going to. I mean, that's going to be a name that fans need to remember for coming years because he's going to be the next great Georgia defensive back on a line of a lot of talent in the young talent in the secondary. But Tyke Smith, man, his a lot of football he's played and his veteran leadership, I feel like is big having out there.
Agreed. Georgia's special teams. Hey, Brett Thorson finally got some playing time.
Yeah.
He did. He punted the ball.
He got to punt a couple, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So man, good on him.
Yeah. Did what I asked to do, man. Pinning them, flipping field position. I think Georgia did. I mean, man, really just when you think about it, Clark, what more could you ask of what happened Saturday? No penalties, shooting yourselves in the foot. No turnovers. Really winning the field position battle all day. I mean, all the ingredients you have a just dominate performance.
The only other thing I'd want
controlling both lines of scrimmage. That's one thing I need to talk about before we get just too far into special teams is how you win championships. And in the SEC, it's common sense to anybody who watches football is you win the trenches on both sides of the football. And that's where Georgia's program is built from the inside out. And that's why you're a national championship contender year in and year out. It's just good, solid line play. And that's what you saw on full display, absolutely dominating Florida on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, we did, for sure.
Got to have that Saturday, too.
Great job by Peyton Woodring, too. He went 2 for 2 on field goals. I think 5 for 5 on extra points, something like that. So good job.
Love where he's at now, man. And very confident now in him. And because he's going to be needed. I think there's going to be some clutch kicks he's going to have to make going forward.
Yeah.
And I feel very confident in his ability to do it now.
Yeah. Let's talk about a couple more games from last week. Starting off here with South Carolina.
Just a great day in Jacksonville. Always good to be.
It was.
Just love it. Let's just say that, man. It's just becoming an annual thing. I love it. Give it to me every year. Nothing finer. Woo!
Yeah.
All
Hey,
right, close the book
row
on
60 is 3-0.
On the next one.
Row 60 is 3-0 against Florida.
You dang right.
So that's right. Screw
Mark it. Yes, sir.
Last week's games, South Carolina at Texas A&M, 30-17. A&M winners. Good job, Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, yeah. I mean, big.
Poor Shane Beamer.
Big on Shane, man. Big game coming up for Shane.
Oh, yeah.
Jacksonville State.
I was like, wait, what?
First year in FBS Conference USA, Rich Rodriguez. You remember him?
Yeah.
The coach who I've never liked him because of that Sugar Bowl in West Virginia that year. He was head coach there. But yeah, he's the head coach of Jacksonville State. Got them rolling. I think they're like 6-2, 7-2. And they're the Gamecocks. First time that two Gamecocks have ever faced off with each other. You know, you have the Tigers play the Tigers a lot, or the Bulldogs play the Bulldogs, Clark,
Right.
but you don't see many Gamecocks playing the Gamecocks. So
Yeah.
Jacksonville State is leaving Alabama to come to Columbia, South Carolina, and just keep your eye on it. I don't know if I'm going to call it to be it, but if it does happen, it will be a glorious meltdown, and everybody and their brother needs to tune into that post-game Shane Beamer press conference.
Do you really
if it
think
happens.
Jacksonville State has a chance?
The recipe's there from when this stuff has happened in the past.
Okay.
The recipe's there. Struggling Power 5 team and a team that is playing beyond their, I think, expectation in a group of 5 team. And they're playing their Super Bowl.
Okay.
You know? And maybe a team that's not really that motivated. Carolina's not going to go bowling, I don't think.
I believe it's a 12 o'clock kick too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So it'll be a
this
fun
week.
one.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye on that
Okay,
on a little
all
score
right.
ticker at the bottom.
Good job for A&M.
Yeah,
I guess.
We'll see.
Woohoo.
I mean, they got a big game against Ole Miss this week on the road.
BYU at Texas. I have no idea why we picked this game. Texas won pretty handedly, 35-6 over the Mormons.
Yeah. I mean, Big 12 football. Right
Good
there.
job. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I
Congratulations.
yeah, I mean, Texas in the thick of the playoff hunt, man. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Oregon at Utah, also 35-6. Oregon absolutely smacked Utah.
That's a big win for Dan Lanning. Clark. Going out to Salt Lake City and a tough place to play, and beating a very good Utah program, Kyle Whittingham. I think highly of him as a head coach, and good physical football. I think they play in the Pac-12 for Utah. That's why they won the past 2, and Dan Lanning goes in there and smokes them. So
Yeah.
I'd be fired up if I was an Oregon fan after that one. I'm feeling really good about the potential of a rematch with Washington.
Exactly. Duke at Louisville,
I got this one wrong.
23-0. Adam, I'm pretty sure I took Louisville, not really knowing why, other than the fact that Papa John's Stadium, it gets a little wild. I've never been, but it just
What
looks
do you
like.
base that off of?
Well, I years ago, you'd
Like
see
what Lamar
Clemson
Jackson
and
was
Louisville.
there?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's changed since then, but still.
Is Lamar Jackson trotting out there every Saturday night,
but
Clark,
hey,
with Bobby Petrino?
no, but
No, I'm just playing. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a tough place to play, Clark.
here's the thing about it. Louisville, though, really may be playing Florida State in the ACC championship.
Yeah, man. I mean,
That's wild.
It's unreal. That program was a poverty program for the past few years. Petrino, as in his second stint there, just left it in shambles. Satterfield really wasn't that great. Jeff Brom, a guy coming back to his alma mater, Clark. A guy coming back to a place that he loves. A guy who loves the people, Clark, at the place that he's going to, and knows what Louisville football means to all the people in Kentucky.
A guy that really loves Papa John's pizza.
Yeah. A guy who is bought into the culture of Papa John's or whatever they do up there in Louisville as Cardinal fans. Jeff Brom, Clark, did a great job at Purdue and is really, even though the schedule's not the toughest, but still for what he's done at Louisville is impressive to potentially go to ACC championship game in year 1. Look out for Jeff.
Okay.
Look out for Jeff.
Everybody watch out for Jeff.
Yeah. Very
Are
impressive.
they? They're not undefeated, are they? Or
No,
are
they lost to, they beat Notre Dame. I think they lost to Pittsburgh. I think they've lost
Ooh,
one.
that's a bad
Yeah, it
loss.
was a bad loss, but yeah, I mean, I think kind of one of those where you're trying to set a culture, Clark, in the
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you come off a huge win, beating the Notre Dame Fighting Irish at
You
Papa
have a
John
huge
at
lead.
Papa J's Stadium.
Okay.
and then your team culture just sitting there in the mindset, right, Clark, to
Right.
handle that, and then play a tough Pat Narduzzi Pittsburgh Panther football team.
How do you
And
know
come
all
away
these
with
head coaches?
and then come away with a win after.
That's just Pat. Who?
Narduzzi, yeah, old
Narduzzi?
Michigan State defense coordinator. Oh, he's made some headlines. Him and Dion
Interesting.
have been throwing their kids under the bus.
Oh,
you could ask
okay.
Shane Beamer that.
Okay.
You know, I'm a guy that I feel like most successful head coaches that you ever see do not just throw their kids under the bus, Clark. They're going to take the route of, I need to do a better job coaching them. I need to do a better job our staff does evaluating, getting them ready to play or calling. Even though anybody with a football IQ can tell the difference of when it's coaching and when it's just bad play on the field, which results back to coaching. I feel like at this level,
Yeah.
and or lack of recruiting, getting the talent in there. But just to come out in a press conference and throw your kids under the bus, I don't agree with it. I think you could do it in the locker room and
Right.
and other guys call each other out. But I think it's just a bad look as a head coach, man. I really do. I think that the best ones just go out there and say, we need to do a better job, that kind of responsibility as a head coach. And then, and then you have come to Jesus meetings and challenge their manhood in the locker room.
Exactly.
In the friendly confines of the locker room.
Yep. Another fun SEC East battle, Tennessee at Kentucky. Tennessee, oh my gosh. Tennessee won
now,
this
Cole,
game
get it.
33-27. Pretty fun matchup.
Yeah.
We saw kind of the tail end of this game, but it looked like Kentucky had several chances to win.
Yeah, I think they did.
Ended
Ended
up winning.
I think this has been a hard one for the Bluegrass faithful up there.
I'm sure.
I think they're already turning their eyes towards basketball season like they do annually. And I think there's realism setting in that they're never going to win an SEC championship in football.
Bless them.
It's like they all of a sudden this just took this loss to Tennessee to realize we're not going to get there. And now they're even questioning, do they need Mark Stoops there? Ooh. As Mark Stoops maxed them out. But then you're like, well, be careful, man, because Mark Stoops has got you, winning a game you shouldn't. They've flipped the series with Florida now, beating them. They're always going to lose Tennessee, always losing to Georgia, and might drop one against like a Mississippi State or something that they shouldn't. But, they're winning. They're having some 8-9 game win seasons, mostly maybe about 7-5. But then they're going and playing in the Florida Bowl some years, going and playing the Iowas and Penn States of the world in a Capital One Bowl.
Yeah, Kentucky would be absolutely
crazy
insane
to get rid of Mark Stoops.
Oh, my gosh.
I think he'll be a guy, man, that I can see him. Watch this right here unfold. This is Adam's bold prediction.
Okay.
If Kurt Ferentz decides to hang it up in Iowa, if Kurt Ferentz says, he's been there since 1999, Clark, if he says it's time to ride off to the sunset, Mark Stoops is an Iowa son.
Ooh.
I think he's got some gold and black blood in him. He's a Hawkeye guy. The whole Stoops family is, got some allegiances there. I could see Mark saying, hey, forget this. I'm going to the Big Ten. I'm going to Iowa. Watch it.
I feel like he'd be pretty good.
Watch
there.
it.
That's a good.
Watch it.
I like that.
Watch it.
I like it. Moving on, Ohio State at Wisconsin, 24-10. Adam, I was feeling pretty good because early in the season, preseason, I said that this would be a game, and it kind of was, honestly. But I think we saw that Ohio State is still struggling a little bit offensively, despite their weapons, despite who they have on offense, and they've got some talented guys. But
I think quarterback play is just not what it usually is up there in Columbus.
I think if Wisconsin had any sort of an offense, any semblance of an offense, this game might have been something.
Yeah.
But
what I took away from it, man, is I think Luke Fickell is going to have a good program in Wisconsin. Year one up there, making strides, doing all the right things of what you want to see, the development of a program of a year one coach and somebody highly regarded like Fickell. I think that's a good fit for each other, and I think they'll make some noise in the Big Ten going forward in the next few years, man, when he gets his guys and lays his foundation, puts his culture, his stamp on the program.
Oklahoma at Kansas, big upset here, 38-33, Kansas Jayhawks.
Woo, man.
What
Rock, chalk,
Jayhawk.
Hawk.
Yep.
That's what I say.
Good for them. I hate Oklahoma. I don't know why, but I just don't like Oklahoma.
I'm just not a Brett Venables fan, man.
Yeah, and I wasn't a Lincoln Riley fan.
No, heck no, man. So that's a game that it makes the Big 12 interesting now, Clark.
It really does.
It really makes Bedlam the last ever Bedlam. Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State. Very interesting because there's a path if Mike Gundy, who has just been raised from the dead, Clark. They lost to South Alabama at the beginning of the year, but Mike Gundy just comes out like he does in Mike Gundy fashion, and all of a sudden back in the conversation here in November. If they beat Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has owned Mike Gundy, Mike Gundy wouldn't love anything more. I guarantee he's losing a lot of sleep this week because he wants this one bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Oklahoma's ruined a lot of good Oklahoma State seasons. I mean, beats them every year. And even when Oklahoma's had down years, and Oklahoma State should be the favored team, Gundy is going to want this one bad. Last time playing Oklahoma in the foreseeable future, good chance, man, that knocks them out of the Big 12 title contention. And if you look at Oklahoma State's back half of the schedule, I think they're all newcomers to the Big 12, like the UCFs, the BYU, Cincinnati's. I don't know which ones, but some of the new Big 12 additions that were old Group of Five schools. Watch out. Oklahoma State could be in Dallas that first Saturday in December if they win this game.
We are picking Oklahoma State Bedlam in just a minute. So,
oh man, and Stillwater
get
too.
to that. Yep. But let's not.
That's what college football is all about, baby.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
We'd
be remiss if we didn't talk about this one right here. Clemson at NC State, 24-17. NC State beats the Tigers.
Yes. I mean, it is so hard to go to Raleigh and win a football game.
It's challenging.
It's tough. It's tough for the Clemson I mean, especially coming off a big loss in a very raucous, sold-out, packed environment at Hard Rock Stadium against Miami in overtime.
Oh my gosh!
That really just right there. That's tough to overcome. And Dabo said it best, Clark. 4-4. Dabo said if we hadn't fumbled the ball a few times this year, we could be 8-0.
Yeah,
just a few fumbles, Clark. We've been 8-0.
Yeah,
just
a few
fumbles, just a few fumbles, and you don't have losses to Duke, Florida State, Miami, and now North Carolina State on your resume with Notre Dame coming to town. I love it. I personally love it.
Yeah, me too.
I love it.
Clemson outgained NC State in this game by 164 yards and had 11 more first downs than the Wolfpack and still managed to lose. Inject that to my veins,
Every bit of it, brother. Every bit of it. I was thinking this the other day, Clark. I could not script the college football landscape to be any better than what it is now. You got Florida being what Florida is right now, and then what Clemson, this debacle. Then, I remember from 2015 to 2018, I was so jealous of them.
Yeah,
I mean, I admit it. I was like a little jealous, like little schoolgirl. You know what I mean? That's just jealous of the certain, girl who's dating the guy that the girl had a crush on or something. You know, I mean, you know how jealousy runs rampant at that age and stuff. I was like that. I went to a Clemson-Georgia basketball game with a buddy who was at Clemson at the time, and he had student tickets, and I was wearing my red and black, and the ushers escorted us out. This was in 2016, right before they won their first one. Escorted us out to a different seat because we were sitting close to floor level, and they couldn't have the red and black being shown there.
Oh, my gosh.
And I went off on the usher, and I mean, it really wasn't a good Christ-like moment for myself but really, the bitterness of it was because I was so jealous of where their football program was at that point in time as well. And I mean, just really didn't act in a good way during that time period because of how I felt towards Clemson football. But to see where it is now, baby, it couldn't be any better.
Yeah, it's sweet.
The match the national championship totals, man.
Yeah. All right, let's talk. While we're on Clemson, let's talk about Dabo.
Yeah, we got to talk about it.
Let's try to explain this. Do you want to try to explain to the people what has happened, in case they missed it? Some people probably already have heard this whole. Is it a live? Was it a live call-in show?
It was a live call-in show. I mean, I don't know why they're still doing live coaches call-in shows. I mean, I don't think Georgia's had one since the Rick days in 07, 08.
Yeah, you can tweet in stuff to Kirby Smart, but you can't call him directly.
Right, but you'd have screeners on a live call-in show with the coach. I mean, they were really at their glory in the late 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jim Donnan call-in shows of the late 90s were just, because Georgia wasn't really that good at that point in time. But, I mean, that's where there was a lot of stuff going on there. And then Rick had some call-in shows, but that's the thing of the past at about every institution out there except for Clemson. Little old Clemson still has their Monday night call-in show. So yeah, Tyler from Spartanburg chimed in. I think made some valid points in some respect, but then sounded like an idiot. What I love about it is it made the Clemson fan and Dabo look just stupid on a national level. Well, because Tyler brought good points up as a fan, but he also sounded like an idiot with questioning that when what Dabo has done there. I hate to admit it. I mean, he's had 10, 12 straight 10-win seasons. I don't know how many ever ACC championships, 2 national championships. I mean, has done good. You got to say that as much as where I want to lay where the success was, and I'm worried that it's not in Clemson anymore. I don't think it was all Dabo. It was because he had Venables, who built a strong defensive line, and 2 generational quarterbacks and some good skill players. None of that's in Clemson anymore. And his culture and the way he's thinking he's going to do it is crumbling. And he's having to eat a lot of crow for it, I think, Clark. But one quick thing that I want you to say, what you're going to say about it. I thought, Dabo made good points, what he was saying, but he went way too long on it and sounded like way too just out of line and insecure. As the head coach of a college football program who makes $11, $12 million a year, you could say, look what we've done. We're going to continue working on it. We've done it before, or we're going to be able to do it again, but not stoop to the level of just a fan from rural South Carolina calling in and then calling him a 12-year-old kid and just going on a rampage. And did you hear him say, and I don't know about you, Tyler?
Yeah. It sounded like a high school argument, like a debate between 2 students talking about something.
It came unhinged.
It really did. Essentially, if you don't know what has happened.
Drop some explicits, Clark, on the right line.
He did. Dabo dropped some expletives. If you didn't hear this, Tyler from Spartanburg called in to Dabo's show and was asking Dabo essentially, why are we paying you, as talking about Clemson, And Tyler's family, I think, is donors. They probably donate. They go to games 3 years and that kind of thing. And he says, why are we paying you, millions of dollars to go 4-4, which is a valid question. That's probably not something you may want to say directly to the head coach of your favorite institution.
Who's done a lot for
who really has changed the program.
Yeah, and made that expectation.
But at the same time, you're right. Dabo went kind of back on a rampage on this kid. And you just have to go listen to it for yourselves because it is golden.
Where I thought where Clemson fans should be upset and question Dabo, even though he's given them great memories and everything, is Clark. I think the biggest thing and where I would be livid is you got to transform with the game. You got to use transfer portal. You got to use NIL to stay successful. Yeah. I mean, Coach K at Duke, he was going to do his own thing and not do the one and done deal. Duke started sliding, right? And then all of a sudden, Coach K one and done and, had a little bit more success till he ended his career. Dabo is going to have to do that, and I think the arrogance of he's going to do it his way and think that he can still have success is what's bothering them, and it would bother me. Yeah. And that's what I think is so hilarious because he is at a crossroads, and he's either going to have to eat crow and clean house with staff, all his family or friends that are in the program. His friend, what I love about it, he's got all his friends who are on the coaching staff. The good old boy system moving up the ladder right there. But the good thing about in Athens, you can say, well, yeah, Kirby Smart has his friends as coordinators. Well, they're good.
Yeah, they are good.
They're actually good. So
they're qualified human beings.
So it's going to be funny to see what is Dabo. Is he going to stick to his guns, which if he sticks to his guns, Clemson will never be at the level where they were a few years ago. They're just going to continue to be mediocre now if he don't, or he's going to have to eat a lot of crow to try to revitalize the program. And that's what I love about it. And I love that fact. I love how Kirby, it's not like we're a transfer portal team, Clark. Like some people think, like Lane Kiffin think they just got to bring everybody in. Kirby gets guys in there and builds a foundation, but stuff happens, man. Discipline, people go to the NFL, and there's holes, Clark. And he uses a portal, what I think it's designed for, to patch those holes, man. Like bringing in Rah and Love It when you have guys like AD leave. And that's how you utilize it, and that's how you do it right. Yeah. And still, instill the program and develop guys from bringing them in top-level recruiting classes. But the bad thing is Clemson is not even recruiting. Yeah. It's like Dabo just thinks he can bring in any 2 or 3 star guy and just make them into, Well, they are. I don't know. It's great. I love it. I hope they don't win another game ever.
Same here.
Do you think Dabo will leave? How funny would it be if the South Carolina Clemson contingent runs them out of town? Do you see Dabo taking, say Jimbo's fired and Texas A&M offers him?
Maybe. Yeah, I can see that.
Gone.
Just a new slate.
I don't know why A&M would do it, but they might do what? Could you imagine though? How funny would that be?
That would be really funny. Who would Clemson go get at that point?
Well, Dabo said that. Oh, I don't know, man. But Dabo said though, he said, "I'll be coaching in 10 years. It might not just be here."
Wow.
I mean, he's a loose cannon. Yeah, stuff. Now,
folks,
man.
If you haven't seen it, go look it up.
It's 5 minutes of your life that you will be glad you looked at it.
Yep. All right, let's very quickly talk about Brock Bowers. Where do you think he stands, Adam? Or what I've heard from a couple of sources.
You got some scoop?
Yeah.
Got some scoop.
Couple of sources here.
Okay.
Is that he is getting really close to being back in time for maybe Ole Miss. Do not quote me on that. But according to these sources, and I would say they're pretty reliable, very well could be back for Ole Miss. And, man, that would be a huge thing.
I love that.
And we were talking about it a little earlier. It would be similar to what happened in 2014 when Todd Gurley returned for the 2014 Georgia-Auburn game at home. Brock Bowers, I'm sure, doesn't want to miss potentially what would be his last home game in Sanford Stadium. If we don't, that would be tough.
Golly, Clark. I don't know. That would be, he's not human, right?
No.
So, of course, you expect because he's not human and he's just got the will to get back on the field because he loves Georgia. He loves his teammates. He's just a selfless guy. The kind of guy that you want to see your daughter marry.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a stand-up guy, right?
Sure.
People,
sure.
In honor of Elijah Drinkwitz in Missouri coming to town, I'll say that, he said that about his quarterback.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not hear that.
That he would be somebody that he would like to see his daughter marry.
Interesting. Brady Cook.
But in all seriousness, Brock Bowers, great guy. I mean, just if you molded a football player, that's what you want: attitude, ability, everything. So yeah, of course, he's going to work his best to get back on the field as quick as possible. And I don't know, man. It would be a dream to see him one more time in Sanford. That place would be electric. If it's a night game, top 10 matchup. List goes on and on of the excitement with that. But I think realistically, if he does come back before the postseason, it'll be in Knoxville.
Okay.
I think
I'd take
2
that.
or 3 weeks. I think that's very high possibility. But then I don't know, man. It might be limited action then. I think, or could it be like with Pickens? I know it's 2 completely different injuries, Clark. 2 completely different injuries. I understand that. But could you see them wanting to hold, especially you win against Missouri, you win against Ole Miss, suit him up against Tennessee, see how it goes, if he's there. And
Scare Tennessee a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but he might not play, but then just give him some live reps against Tech. You remember how with Pickens 2 years ago, he got some snaps against Tech to kind of get back in the swing of things, in the groove.
Is that when he threw the kid in the wall?
That was
19.
19, yeah.
That's right.
So I don't know, but maybe not. Maybe not that snap. Maybe he's just ready to freaking roll. And
hopefully.
I think and then play against Tennessee. But, it would be, if he plays against Ole Miss, Clark, that's just otherworldly stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know, man. But anyway, the good news is the recovery is looking great.
Yes. That is what I hear a lot of.
And there is no doubt in my mind, knock on wood, barring anything else happen, he will be playing for Georgia again. We didn't see the last of Brock Bowers.
I hope not. Gosh, I hope not.
And I think he'll be playing in the regular season.
Yeah.
I'm calling my shot in Knoxville.
Okay. I think that's a safe bet for sure. Like actual
But it'd be
playing
wild
time.
to see him in Sanford one more time, but I'm going Knoxville.
Yeah. Some rankings, not just some rankings. The College Football Playoff Committee had their rankings released yesterday. And here is the list. We're just going to run through the top 10 right quick. Ohio State, Georgia at number 2, Michigan 3, Florida State 4, Washington number 5, Oregon number 6, Texas number 7, Alabama number 8, Oklahoma number 9, and Ole Miss number 10.
Yeah.
So,
can you argue with any of that?
I really can't, honestly. And I understand why Ohio State is number 1. Their resume is
2 top 15 wins.
Yeah, much better than ours. I'll just put it that way.
Well, people will say, but people aren't going to say they're the best team in the nation. I know that makes no sense them being number 1. I think they're just looking off the resume. But if you really corner somebody and be like, who is the best football team in the nation? I don't think anybody's going to say Ohio State.
Are you going to corner somebody and ask them that?
Yeah. I don't even think they're the best team in their division.
Yeah. I feel like Michigan's the more complete team for sure.
Boat racing them in Ann Arbor.
Adam, you said Ohio State would beat Michigan.
Did I? When?
Like all leading up to this to now. That's all you've said.
Like what?
Yeah.
When?
You said Ohio State would beat Michigan like preseason.
I've changed my mind. That Michigan's gonna be. They still, both of them might go to the playoffs, Clark.
Yeah, that's
There's still
true.
a path to that, maybe.
My theory is too the reason
not
why
USC. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I know. Yeah, or LSU. Golly, unbelievable. I could pick those the two frauds. Anyway, the reason I think Ohio State and Georgia it's 1 and 2 like that is because I kind of firmly believe that the committee wants to see Ohio State-Georgia rematch, but not in
I want it.
The semifinal game. They want the national championship game.
I want it.
Yeah, I'd love it. Why not?
I mean, if you beat them one more time, Ryan Day and that whole Buckeye Nation come unhinged, Clark. It'll be gold.
Well, think about how sweet it'd be to beat Michigan. If it somehow works out this way where we play Michigan and in the semifinals and we beat them despite their
they're cheating.
They're cheating.
That is unreal.
That'd be crazy.
That's made up stuff. I mean, I know it's not made up stuff, but you know, having to process in the year 2023 what they're doing, and they have a sign stealing guru that is like his title on LinkedIn, and like did you see where he's going like Central Michigan games on the sideline?
He dressed up in Central Michigan stuff.
The level of commitment. I mean, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? That's what people say. But no, I'm just kidding. But I mean, it's unreal. And then Jim Harbaugh having no knowledge of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Unbelievable. And then they pass it on to Shane Beamer in the South Carolina game.
So they say. I don't know.
I think they did. That was the only game of the year South Carolina wore wristbands on defense.
Even if they did, if that were the case, it'd just be funny. Like,
it's
I don't
hilarious.
care. It doesn't bother me.
It's hilarious to me because people will discredit South Carolina's win over it, but still Tennessee has to relive it and know that it happened to them.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a win-win for
Yeah, it
everybody.
really is. It really is. Oh man! All right,
Great.
We're running out of some time, so let's move on pretty quickly here through these picks. This week's pick 'em. We've got Notre Dame at Clemson, 12 o'clock ABC. Notre Dame is favored by 2.5 points.
Ooh.
Adam, who do you like in this? You're going to take Dabo? I don't know. Now knowing what he said to that guy, I think he's going to be a little fired up.
I was about to say, Clark, do you think what's happened on the radio shows, do you think the IPTAY people, the Clemson Nation, is going to get fired up in support? Come together in unison, and really rally for the noon game against Notre Dame. Like, really come in there, really a lot of Tiger pride coming in, and let's win one. Let's do it. Let's do it for Dabo. Let's show our support for Dabo and really get a raucous environment and depth out. Do you really think they're going to do it?
I don't see that. Nope, I don't see it. Yeah, I'm taking Notre Dame in this game by a touchdown or two.
I'm going to go Notre Dame as well.
Nice.
I mean, I could. I can't pick Clemson. Notre Dame.
Yeah. Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Bedlam, baby.
Yes.
Oklahoma is a 6-point favorite in this game. 3:30 ABC. You thought I was going to say CBS, didn't you?
That's right.
But it's ABC.
ABC.
Who do you got in this one, Adam?
Like I mentioned earlier, Clark, last Bedlam. Heated rivalry. I wish, this is what I hate about the new schedule, man. I wish they could still find ways to keep traditional rivalries going. I mean, you play out of conference games, try to make it happen, but that's the price of the progress that we're making is we're killing tradition. Don't like that. But anyway, on to the give me Oklahoma State.
Oh, Adam.
Classic finish to the end for Mike Gundy beating Oklahoma in the last game against them in Stillwater. Yeah.
That would be chaos.
It would be wild. And for Oklahoma State, for the door wide open to go to Dallas, the Big 12 championship.
Unbelievable.
And then who knows what will happen there. You'll have a stayer in the Big 12 and one leaving the Big 12. I watched the officiating in that game as that happened.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
But Oklahoma State, Texas.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, Adam, as you mentioned earlier, lost to South Alabama, the Jaguars, and Iowa State. They have one Big 12. But they did beat Kansas 39-32. Oklahoma just lost to Kansas.
Yeah.
So based upon the law of transitive properties, we talked about this last
South
episode.
Alabama would beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's the law of transitive properties.
Right. Right.
And
Oklahoma State would beat Oklahoma based upon that.
That's where I'm going with the law of transitive properties, because you can always go with the law of transitive properties when deciding football games, because it always happens like that, Clark.
Yeah,
I mean,
10 out of 10 times.
I mean, you can call everything that's going to happen on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, because so-and-so beats so-and-so, it automatically 100% means that so-and-so will beat so-and-so.
Exactly. No, I can't do that. I'm going to go with my gut here, Oklahoma, as much as I don't like them. But I do think it will be pretty close.
They probably will. They probably will. But I'm just going to go with the Cowboys.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. We need to get a mullet this week. We need to, we can't grow. You can't grow a mullet.
I just got my hair cut.
Yeah. I've never seen you with longer. Actually, no, I take that back. I have seen you with kind of longer hair. But it gets curly, does it not?
Yeah, it gets curly and it's thick, man. It's just the good Lord didn't intend me to have long hair.
I was about to say, we could get mullets in honor of Mike Gundy this week.
You need to. I'll be there in support.
Washington at USC, fun matchup here. It was, looking at this preseason, this was going to be like a huge matchup, I thought. And it kind of still is. 7:30 ABC. This game might be interesting, actually. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Washington's not looking as good as they started out with, man. Playing down a little bit. Caleb Williams, there was some talk with people saying that he needs to just sit out the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sit out. But he's not. He's going to play. So good for him.
He's going to paint his fingernails.
USC's defense is atrocious. Bad, Clark. Who you going to go with?
I'll stick with Washington just because they're the better football team. Going into the Coliseum isn't the most raucous environment.
No.
Even at night.
You mean to tell me the people of Los Angeles don't get fired up about their football? Their
about collegiate football? Yeah, I don't.
You don't think?
So. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe.
I mean, you mean to tell me there's not podcasts out there that they're just getting fired up for their college football tailgate? I mean,
oh man,
it's not a part of life out there.
Why wouldn't it be?
Hey, I don't know, man. I got a weird feeling.
Oh, are you going with
Give me the
USC?
Trojans.
Oh, my gosh.
Outscore them in a shootout.
Fight on. Do it, Adam.
At 55-45.
You're taking Bear Alexander and company.
No, I'm not taking their defense. They're going to give up 45 to 50 points. I'm just saying that Caleb Williams is going to score over 50.
Okay.
He'll score a little bit more.
I wonder what the over-under of this game is. Probably like 120.
That was a very stupid pick, but hey, why not?
Watch them win.
Why not?
LSU at Alabama, 7:45 CBS. We're not going to do a bump. This is not a 3:30 bump.
That's right. Okay.
The Tigers versus the Tide.
Oh,
fun matchup. Always enjoy watching this game.
Hey, I got a trivia question.
Okay, you got a trivia question?
Yeah, I heard of this somewhere. Who was the last quarterback to beat Nick Saban 2 years in a row? Not team, but the starting quarterback who has beat a Nick Saban coached football team 2 years in a row.
Is it an LSU quarterback?
No. You're not. I don't think you're ever going to get it.
2 years in a row.
Because I was going to say Bo Wallace, but he wasn't. It was Chad Kelly when Hugh Freeze beat him in 14 and 15.
Is Chad Kelly?
No. I was going to say it was. I thought it would be Bo Wallace beat him in 14, then again in 15.
Right.
But Chad Kelly was the starter in 15. Bo Wallace was in 14 for those Ole Miss teams.
Wait. Was it Bo Nix?
Nope.
No.
You're never going to get it.
I don't know who.
Drew Brees.
What?
At Purdue.
Oh, my gosh.
When Nick Saban coached Michigan State.
Wow. That's crazy, honestly.
I couldn't believe it when I heard that.
Interesting.
So does that change anything in this? That there's not been a starting quarterback beat Saban.
I don't know. I mean, if this is a time, if there ever was a time to do it, this may be Jaden Daniels' best shot.
Yeah.
I like the Tide, though, at home in a close game. It's going to probably be a back-and-forth game. Alabama's defense is just too much for the – well, I don't know, though. LSU's offense – Alabama's defense will at least slow them down.
Yeah.
And I like Jalen Miller. I like Alabama's offense versus LSU's defense better than the other way around.
Yeah, I do too, Clark. I think LSU's got a great offense, but Bama has an elite defense. As much as that pains me to say, they have good defensive football being played right now. I could see this game going either way. I wouldn't bet on it if you made me. But I think where a big difference is Milrose found the deep ball. As much as I hate to say it, connecting with Burton, and LSU's secondary is atrocious. So I think there could be some explosives made for that Alabama offense in a sense that they can connect on some deep shots, score some points, man. And I think LSU will not have as good of a day offensively against Alabama's defense. And I think that's how
it's
cards are going to fall, man. In Tuscaloosa, it'll be tough to win. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, though, if LSU beat them.
Yeah.
But I think you keep your eye on this game. I think the winner of this game is going to be who Georgia plays in the SEC championship, hopefully.
Be a good indicator. All right, in lieu of game of the week, we're going to play a little trivia, Adam.
Ooh,
you ready for this?
Man.
A little Georgia, Missouri.
And people are going to say, well, you just redid the thing because, but I don't remember any trivia that we did.
Yeah.
That we did at all.
Yes.
And I think you might have some different ones on there.
I may. Yes.
Okay. All right.
In lieu of game of the week, this is what we're going to do. We're going to play a little Georgia, Missouri trivia here.
Oh, man.
Okay. You ready?
Man, I'm ready.
All right. First question. The last time Georgia got beat by Missouri was this. This is kind of a two-part question. You should get this pretty easily, this first part. The last time Georgia got beat by Missouri was when? What year?
2013.
Nice.
In Athens.
Nice.
Terrible day.
This is it was.
Terrible day.
Bonus question. Do you remember the score to that game? Because I don't. I flushed it out of my memory completely.
It was like 31-17. 31-14.
I don't know the answer to it.
Oh, really? I don't think that was it, but I think it was.
I thought it was like 41-28 or something like that.
That bad?
I don't know. Let's look it up right quick.
Because I'd love to know that.
Georgia versus Missouri,
2013.
2013.
I just remember they
Score.
scored on. Oh,
41-26.
41-26. I didn't realize it got that high scoring with
Yeah.
it. Man, that was a bad day.
It really
I remember
was.
a wide receiver reverse pass that they did. It was the week before the off week before going to Jacksonville. Georgia just lost to Vanderbilt, and they lost to Missouri.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Gosh. Unbelievable. All right. Here's the second part of that question. In 2013, can you name Georgia's leading passer, Georgia's leading rusher, leading receiver, and leading tackler during that game versus Missouri?
Well, Murray.
Yep, Aaron Murray. That would be the leading passer.
Everybody and their brother was injured in Knoxville a couple weeks before that. So there was no Todd Gurley. There was no Keith Marshall. Brendan Douglas.
Not Brendan Douglas.
J.J. Green. J.J. Green.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, there you go.
That was the leading rusher.
All right.
You got the leading receiver and leading tackler left.
Michael Bennett was hurt, too.
Yep.
Malcolm Mitchell was hurt.
Yeah.
I think Chris Conley was hurt, too.
He probably was banged up during that game.
Rentavious Wooten?
Yes, Rontavious Wooten, number 17.
Man, I hadn't thought about that name in a while.
Yeah.
I was going to say him or Rhett McGowan.
Yeah.
Rhett McGowan was a big
White
name there, too.
Lightning.
Yes, he was a big at that point in time. With that. I mean, we had a lot of bodies down.
Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. Nice, Adam. All right. Last one here. Leading tackler. 2013 Georgia, Missouri.
Go with the linebacker.
Yes, definitely a linebacker.
Rameek Wilson.
Rameek, yes.
Yes.
Number 51, Rameek Wilson.
Oh,
he was kind of your boy.
He was, man. Yeah. I mean, he would, yeah. We were friends, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
remember.
I'd see him after games and everything. Like, we'd go and I'd talk with him after the games.
Yeah, I remember that. In 2012, it was always like Adam would show up for the dog walk and we would, shout everybody's name. But when Rameek Wilson came up, we hyped him up,
Oh, yeah, he'd come over there personally and dap us up.
Yep.
Is that dab or dap? Dap
I think it's DAP, D-A-P.
Dap.
But there's also a dap, like you
Dap
can
us
dab.
up. We'd dab it up and I'd tell him,
Yeah.
go get him.
Nice.
Great guy.
All right. Good job, Adam. All right, 2 more questions here.
Dang right.
Missouri, you should be able to get this one easy because we played this game on the way to Vanderbilt, and you were able to name every FBS mascot there was.
All right.
So you should get this one pretty easy.
All right.
Missouri is one of 5 teams in FBS that uses Tigers as their nickname.
All right.
Can you name the other 4?
Oh, okay. All right. LSU, Clemson,
Yep.
Auburn,
Yep.
and Memphis.
Yes. Dang, you killed
Yes.
that. Yeah, you don't have to think too hard about that one. Those are the 5 Tigers right there.
Memphis could be a tricky one to folks.
It really can be.
The other 3, you could rattle them off, but Memphis, you got to look out for them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a little tricky. All right, and then last question I have for you. Can you name the top 3 teams who have beaten the Missouri Tigers the most throughout the history of college football?
Oklahoma.
Yes.
Yeah, big
Oklahoma
the old
is
Southwest
number-
Conference.
Oklahoma has beaten Missouri the most. Yes. Okay.
Nebraska.
Nebraska's number 2, actually. Nice. They've lost.
Old school. I'm just thinking of old traditional, like
rivalries.
Southwest Conference.
Yeah.
Well, old Big 12 conference, because it wouldn't be anybody in the SEC.
Right.
Because I hadn't been in the SEC but 11 years. So just thinking about the powerhouses back then. Texas.
Not Texas. Good guess.
Around the proximity.
Yes, around the proximity of Texas. Very close.
Big 12. It's not Oklahoma State.
It's a big rivalry.
Kansas.
Yes. Yep.
Kansas. That blows on, and it's not basketball. We're talking football.
Right.
Whew,
well,
my
Missouri,
gosh.
Missouri's actually beaten Kansas a lot in their history, but they have lost 48 times, which is 3rd most to another.
I guess
opponent.
just the longevity of the rivalry,
Right.
like in the 1909s, 1897, maybe Kansas was a little bit better. I mean, now they're great. No, I'm not going to hate on Lance Leipold's program. He's got a heck of a squad over there in Lawrence, Kansas now, but
Oh, yeah.
that'd be a good game right now if they played. Boy, there is some hate there. There is some hate in that rivalry.
Yep.
And
That's one I wish
wow,
would be
but I
revived.
wouldn't have thought Kansas would have been on that list, but I guess just because they're such rivals and played so much that there's some type of law that would make that be that it happens, even though they're probably not a good football program for the last millennium.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well,
Interesting.
That was
I love
fun.
that. That
We
was
might have to
good.
do that again.
That was good.
I mean, I love Game of the Week, but trivia.
Trivia. I mean, I'm a big trivia advocate, man. I'm not above putting on the Game Show Network, Clark, and watching some old 1970s Family Feud or big Who Wants to Be a Millionaire guy with Regis Philbin back in the day, man. I mean, as a young buck watching that, I really didn't know any of the questions. I would just randomly guess A, B, C, or D.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, just the fastest finger question.
Yes.
And
then you'd have I feel like there was a case, like a glass case in the middle with money.
A lot of stacks of Benjamins in it.
Oh man, did you ever see
was that thing not in the Statue of Liberty too?
No, really?
I thought like the studio for it was like in the Statue of Liberty on
What?
the base of it.
That's crazy. I've never heard that.
Maybe as a young child, I somehow got that confused. If you knew that, if Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was filmed in the Statue of Liberty,
Confirm that.
let us know. Because as a young child watching that, I thought I heard that. But you know how you can, twist
Right,
things up.
right. What about deal or no deal? Are you a big deal or no deal kind of guy?
Deal
Or no deal?
or no deal? Yeah, I enjoyed the deal or no deal.
Dun 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 dun.
I would have came out of there with no money, man, because I would have been, yeah. Let's go.
What case?
We're gonna keep going.
One of
the banker,
26.
The banker's like, nah, man, banker, we do not have a deal.
Yeah.
We don't have a deal.
No deal.
I say that, but then the first
$100,000.
$500. Like, yeah, I'm taking it. Let's go on the house.
Oh man. What number would you pick right quick? Would it be 16?
Yeah,
That's kind of your number,
That's my
right?
number.
Yeah.
16 is my favorite number.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yep.
Well, hey, if you are enjoying this episode, I know it's kind of a long one, but hey, make sure to leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube,
Appreciate it.
make sure to hit that subscribe button. Gosh, I cannot believe I just said that. I make fun of people who say that, but seriously,
Hit the subscribe button
subscribe to us so you don't miss another video because we do.
because you get a notification. If
what?
A notification. There's a notification that comes on if you subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube. That will be a friendly reminder that, hey, we need to listen to Row 60.
Yeah. Oh boy! All right, Georgia versus Missouri. I cannot believe we're an hour and 30 minutes. This may be our longest episode ever.
Well, they
We're
can
having
break it up
fun.
into segments or not listen to it if they don't want to.
Yeah, we're having
It's
fun.
just out there. Yep.
We're having fun.
Just good
Georgia,
friendly
Missouri preview. Here we go.
Give it to us, baby.
Georgia is 11-1 in the series versus Missouri. The one loss being, like we mentioned, 2013. We first started playing this game when Missouri came to the SEC in 2012. Adam, you went to that game.
Yeah,
did
that
you
was
not?
wild, man. It was their first ever SEC game. So Georgia and Missouri was Missouri's first ever SEC game. The airport in Columbia is closed down now, but we flew into Columbia instead of St. Louis, and there was Missouri people as we walked out off the plane giving us a little. I still got a picture on my old phone or old computer or something of a little chocolate candy bar shaped in the state of Missouri that had Missouri on it, and were welcoming us, and they were very friendly. I was like, well, they just hadn't been in the SEC yet.
Yeah.
Now this fan base, but no, they were very friendly, like thanking us for letting them in the SEC. And I was like, oh yeah, you're welcome. It was a tough
Like,
decision.
you can
but
control
like
that?
I was the one who let them in the SEC.
Oh,
but
man.
very hospitable. I mean, like I said, they had a tunnel for us coming into the in their Missouri attire, coming through coming into the airport and handing us candy, and just
Wow.
like we were the president.
Yeah.
It was wild. Yeah, I'll never forget that.
Interesting. Georgia is currently on a 9-game win streak starting in 2014. I very vividly remember that game because
Big game, man.
I didn't get to watch it. I was taking the SAT at a high school. It was my senior year of high school, and I was like stressed out. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, Adam, where you've never been able to watch a Georgia, at least like watch it on TV.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
Been a long
But
time.
I
Try
was
not to
like-
put myself in them life situations.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I was very anxious. I had to take a, restroom break to go check my phone and watch the game for a few minutes.
Yeah.
That's how nervous I was about it.
That's tough right there, Carl. That's
But we blew them out that game. did we
it
not?
was like 34-0. Shut them out. It was actually that Thursdays when it was confirmed Todd Gurley was suspended. But all that debacle came out. I remember we drove out there 14 hours to watch that football game, and the whole 14 hours was just Gurley talk.
The line for this game, for this Georgia-Missouri game, I think is 15 and a half is what I saw.
Boy.
That's a big spread.
Stout. That's stout.
Yeah.
That's stout, Clark. That's stout. That's stout.
Would you take the over or the under on that?
Give me the dang over, baby.
Oh, I like it.
Give me the over. I mean, but you really can't trust me when it comes to Georgia football because I let my emotions and red and black glasses.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, what since we doing? Oh, Georgia's gonna kill him. We're gonna kill him. We're gonna win the national championship. Well, we have done that.
That is true.
Twice. Yeah.
Twice on this podcast, we won a national championship. 2 out of 2 times, actually. Let me restate that.
Yeah.
Missouri enters this game 7-1, one loss to LSU, and that was a really close game, really tight game between both pairs of Tigers.
Yeah. Shootout.
It was a shootout, indeed.
A lot of points scored.
Missouri averages right now 443 yards per game offensively to Georgia's 506 yards per game.
Like
so
that.
2 really good offenses about to, go head to head.
Yeah.
Scoring offense. I'm just reading you some numbers here, people. Missouri ranks 27th in the nation. So they score about 33.9 points per game. Georgia ranks 7th in the nation, 40.5 points per game.
Awesome.
And then scoring defense, Missouri ranks 52nd in the nation, pretty average. They give up about 23 points per game.
Yeah.
Georgia ranks 7th in the nation as well, defensively, giving up only 14.75. That's great.
Yes, sir. Love it.
So based upon that, I mean, Georgia's going to win, right?
Right, of course, right, because you go through that. I mean, you can base it off that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But very impressive, man, to see both Georgia defense and offense in the top 10. Love that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a good Missouri team, Adam.
Oh, it's a great Missouri team. I mean, I respect them on both sides of the football. I really, Clark, what I respect about what Eli, I mean, I talk about Eli, but he's done a heck of a job. And I think a head coach is only as good as their staff is. Ask Dabo Sweeney. And, I mean, I think Eli's done a great job of the coordinator hires. Kirby Moore's first-year offensive coordinator there. Really, that offense looks different with him, man. Brady Cook looks like a new quarterback from what he was last year. I mean, veteran guy, played a lot of football, good decision maker. I mean, had the most consecutive passes in the SEC history without an interception. So smart with the football. Ain't going to get you beat with bad decision making, man. And then I think Blake Baker. I mean, we saw last year in Columbia. He's a good defensive coordinator, and I think is a guy to look out for in the future for a good high-profile name coach. And I think he does a good job with that defensive unit at Missouri. So I think all the way down, they do the right things at Missouri as far as their development. And I mean, it's not like they have a bunch of 5-stars going around, even though they have Luther Burden beat us out for him. Guy I'd love to see in Athens. But but I think they got another good 5-star recruit. So kind of picking up on that, Eli is. But I think there's a solid program that you really got to respect coming into this game.
Yeah, Brady Cook, he is playing lights out. Like you said, makes very few mistakes with the football. Good decision maker. He's racked up 2,259 yards this season. He's also mobile, right? And this is something we talked about before on this show. Georgia, kind of the Achilles heel to this Georgia defense is a mobile quarterback.
Right.
And, I mean, you could say that for lots of defenses out there. I mean, having a mobile quarterback, though, it's almost like having a 12th guy on the field. You know, you get 2 and 1 in a sense because you've got to defend for the pass and the run when you're talking about the quarterback. That's tough. And so I'm not saying Brady Cook is like dual threat by any means, but he can definitely pick up some yards when needed.
Right.
With his legs.
Well, what's beat Georgia in the past, man, has been elite quarterback play and elite wide receiver play. And I'm not by any means comparing Brady Cook to Joe Burrow or Bryce Young or somebody like that, but he's played some solid football this year, and I think as a quarterback that definitely can beat you with the level he's playing at right now. And then you add a guy like Luther Burden, who's arguably the best receiver in the SEC, who is an elite talent, man. But we'll see. But I mean, very good offense that you can't take lightly, that's for sure.
Yeah,
and they won't, and Georgia won't.
You're right. Luther Burden has 61 receptions, 905 yards. I mean, the kid is 95 yards away from already being a 1,000-yard receiver.
That's amazing. I mean, he's a stud.
He's got 14.8 yards per catch. He's going to be a problem. I mean, he has been the whole season for everybody who's played against him. So it's going to be important for Georgia to make sure this guy's locked down as best can be.
Right. So that's right.
And then they running the ball. They've got a guy named Cody Schrader.
Yeah,
I think he played pretty well last year too. Senior running back, 807 yards this year. 9 touchdowns and a solid 5.8 yards per carry. So,
yes, sir.
I don't know. I mean, has Missouri, though, gone up against a team like Georgia defensively? What do you think? I mean, I can't think of anybody, right?
No, I don't think so.
But then you could say on the flip side, has Georgia gone up against?
Georgia's not played an offense as good as Missouri's this year.
Which is just bizarre to say.
Yeah,
honestly.
It is. But, I mean, I would say that. Feel safe saying that this would be the best team to date. I think all-around team to date Georgia's played.
Yeah. This would be good
litmus test. It's a litmus test game. That's right. I mean, it's for the East. I feel like it's for the East.
Absolutely. And then let's not forget, Adam, they've got the thicker kicker.
Yeah. Boom won against Kansas State, didn't he?
He sure did. Yeah, game winner. Harrison Mevis, I think that's how you say it. Field goal percentage, though, is 68.4, so really not that great, honestly.
Yeah, not solid, but I mean,
respectable. It's better than I could do.
Better than 50%.
Right.
So,
I mean, yeah. He's made 13, attempted 19, and, maybe if we can if we can stop them here and then,
right.
that might bode well for us there.
Dang right.
So those are just some names to look out for. Their defense, Adam, aggressive. They've got 24 total sacks this year, 7 picks, and they do have a veteran defensive line. They've got several guys who are either seniors or juniors who've played a lot of snaps. Right.
Yeah, I think so, Clark. Like I said, Blake Baker, we saw played very solid physical ball last year in Columbia when Georgia went up there. And I feel like, this year they definitely can pop you. You know, the stats might not look as great, but, I think they're a good defense.
Mm-hmm. All right, gut feeling. Without revealing a score prediction, what do you think's going to? How do you think this game will unfold?
I could see Missouri, if they get the ball first or whenever their first offensive series is, marching down the field scoring a touchdown. Kind of like what we talked about with the script. I think it's real. And Missouri's had a week. We need to make mention that Missouri had a bye week when Georgia was in Jacksonville.
Right.
Played an emotional game against Florida, winning that in a neutral site, but on the road in Jacksonville, and then having come back to Athens when Missouri was in Columbia, prepared for this game. And I think it's a thing too, man, that Missouri's been working on Georgia for a while, and I think there's going to be some wrinkles that Georgia hasn't seen on Missouri's offense that they'll see a little bit earlier in the game and might get caught off guard and can lead to some explosive Missouri plays, and Missouri might put some points on the board early on, but I think Georgia will settle in, man.
Yeah.
And I think Georgia's offense really isn't going to have a problem scoring. I love this game's at home. Georgia's only lost one game since 2016 season.
At home?
At home.
Yeah.
That was 2019 South Carolina. So that's amazing. I expect it to be a very electric environment, man. And what I hope to see happen is Brady Cook's a good decision maker with the football, Clark. But in that LSU game, when they kind of got in a little bit of a shootout, feeling like they needed to match LSU in scoring, he kind of stayed away from that, right? Didn't he throw like 2 picks?
I think you're right. Yeah, they had like 3 turnovers.
Yeah, I think he threw 2 picks. So hopefully, if Georgia's offense is clicking and they limit Missouri to a field goal or stop them and they don't get any points and Georgia gets up by a couple possessions, then maybe you could pin your ears back and maybe try to get Brady Cook to force some things that can result in some bad passes that he wouldn't normally do, which leads to turnovers and more points on the board, and capitalizing on that, Clark. And that's kind of where the game then could get pull away in Georgia's direction, and just winning the game on the line of scrimmage, like any SEC game. And I think Georgia got the chance to do that on both sides of the football. And if you come out and you do that from the beginning, man, this game won't be close.
I love it. Missouri
and score in the red zone.
Yeah, that would be.
Don't settle for 3 when you get in the red zone, man. You get all the way down the field, get 7, and that's when it starts really pulling away too.
I completely agree.
Those opportunities.
A couple more notes, and then we're going to do a score prediction here. Missouri ranks 105th in the nation for penalties this year. That could be a huge factor in this game, especially playing on the road. Missouri have not been tested on the road. They've gone to Vandy.
Yeah.
And we know what that kind of environment
is. That's right. Right.
Well, I will say they went to Kentucky, which Kroger Field can get up for some games. But nothing like Sanford Stadium. So I do expect an electric atmosphere.
Yes, sir. It's going to be electric.
It's a lot of fun this Saturday, man.
It's going to be great. All the recipes for it is for it to be a wild, wild afternoon in Athens.
Especially knowing now that we're ranked number 2 in the committee's eyes.
I mean, it's just like last year. I know Tennessee's a rival and somebody you just naturally have a hatred for, and then them being number 1 last year just caused it even more. But it's a similar feel, Clark. Exactly. You got a top 15 team coming in, a team that's only lost 1 SEC game. If you lose this game, you don't have control of the East if you're Georgia. So I mean, it's a monstrous game, no doubt. Also playing off of the guys who are still in this team that went to Columbia last year. Kirby's alluded to that game even this year in press conferences, man. So they're not going to be overlooking it, man. And I think, and it's true, I hate to say it, but when this Georgia team's dialed in, nobody in the country I feel like can beat them. And when they're not dialed in, things got shaky. We've seen it this year, and I think that's just what it is. Is sometimes when Georgia's interested, in a way of saying it like this, they smoke them, and then when they're, like what we saw at Vanderbilt, and it could tend to get a little bit closer. But I don't think there's going to be any doubt that this Georgia team is going to be ready to go and fired up for the remainder of the year with the games that's on the slate.
Love it.
Start Saturday, but started last Saturday, but continue this Saturday.
That's it. Keep the train rolling, baby.
Yes, sir.
All right, Adam, I'm going to give you my score prediction. You give me yours, and you wrap this thing up. I like the Dogs. Let's see.
Give it to it.
You know what? I'm going to go on. I kind of question whether or not I should go over on the spread over 15.
Dang right, go.
I'm going over. Why not?
Over. Why not?
I'm going dogs 35-17.
35-17. 35-17 over the Missouri Tigers is what you're going to do, Clark.
Adam, what about you?
What I'm going to say, what I'm going to say, it's going to be electric.
Are we
Sanford
standing
Stadium.
up?
Yes, sir. And I'm going to tell you this right now, Clark. When Georgia and the Sanford Stadium is rocking, we're in a golden age where you don't come into Sanford Stadium and come out alive, baby. When you come to Athens, Georgia, you do not come out alive, Clark. This is the deal right here. I'm going to tell you this right this second, Clark. This game is for the East. I know you got to win the next week against Ole Miss, and you got a big game against Tennessee going, but this team is dialed in. Yep. This fan base is dialed in. It's going to be rocking. Guys are going to get there early. 3:30 CBS, bomb. And this team is going to be ready to go. It's going to control the game, both sides of the football on the line of scrimmage, man. And it's going to be another memorable game, put another notch in the Kirby Smart legacy, another big opponent whose dreams of beating Georgia, a fan base whose dreams of being there. A lot of Missouri people are coming down, making the 14-hour drive over to Athens or flying into Atlanta and thinking that they're going to see a historic win for their football team, only to have their dreams shattered, Clark, because Georgia is on a roll. We are the pinnacle. We are the standard, and we'll always be until we're just dethroned, baby. And it's not happening Saturday. Georgia's going to win this football game 44-21, and then head to a big game against Ole Miss the next week. It's fun times, baby. It's just going to keep on rolling.
Let's do it.
Let's go, Dogs, baby.
Go, Dogs.